Yellow. Good morning. How you doing? Hey, John. This is just a quick short stream while I wake up. Figured I would just hang out with you guys for a little bit, and then I'm gonna get to work working on a video. Got my coffee. I'm just chilling. Final week. Check. Yeah, I still got my my morning voice or whatever, so. I'm not expecting too many people, but I'll give a few minutes for someone to try. You know, the funny thing, right, and I've said this before, is that I don't look at numbers, right? So, like, I do my best. Like, I don't look at views, not right away anyway, and then I don't look at the view count of, or the live viewer count of a stream. So, if somebody's like a lurker, I have genuinely no way of knowing they're there. They have complete concealment. Hi, Minori. How you doing, Max? Been a while, dude, seeing you in a stream. I take it the only reason why you're up this early is if you're doing the early morning shift. It's gotta be it. Or unless you're coming off the night shift. I don't know. Hey, Hades. So if Kate is alive, will he still be the Hunter Vanguard? My guess? I think he's going to, like, not just make peace with Crow, but I think he's going to pass on the mantle to Crow. I think Crow's going to be Hunter. I mean, he kind of has to be because Aldrin killed Cade, right? And then I think that Cade is going to pass on the thing to whatever. You're in the night shift? Okay. Guys, this is the plan. Again, this isn't going to be like a really long stream. It's kind of just me chilling. And I am tempted to play Destiny, but like, there's not much that I really want to do. There's always the option to just grind Onslaught. Maybe do like one full run or two, I don't know, and just see what we get. But it's kind of soul destroying, and it's like, is that how I really want to start my morning? And then I could try and solo the dungeon. But again, I don't plan on like streaming for like 3 hours or something, and I don't know how long this is going to take. So this is what I'm thinking. I could either do Destiny, or there's a game that just came out, and I started playing it very recently, and it's really fun. It's called Wuthering Waves. And it's kind of like Genshin, but it's, in my opinion, a lot better. And I'd be tempted to try that. So I'm going to put it down to a coin toss. Hey, Starseeker. Because I figure, like, the gameplay isn't really what matters necessarily. It's just kind of like the conversations, and I can chill. Just do whatever. If I do it and then you guys end up hating it, I can just do this. Okay. Which is so whichever one lands right now, that's going to be Destiny. Okay, so Destiny is Tails. We're gonna do best of 3. Okay, Destiny. Okay, never mind. Okay, no, Bungie has spoken. Destiny it is. Oh well. You thought you could get away from me. Oh. Okay. I'm probably gonna just do like a full run of Onslaught. It is 1 in the morning. Yeah, it's 6:38 in the morning for me. Do some trial matches and you will feel better. Oh, bro, dude, should I do that? Should I literally wake up and just go straight into can't even speak. Dude, I can't even speak. I'm that tired. The fates have aligned 50 more years of destiny. No, please. Tyson has summoned you? Dude, am I really just going straight into... Dude, tell you what. I'm gonna play one game of trials. One game of trials. And if this goes terribly, then my whole week is ruined. The final shape is ruined. Automatically. Okay, here we go. Yeah, no, I think if trials is bad, what I'm probably gonna do is just do onslaught. The other thing as well is that I can't really like have a conversation with you guys if I'm... Bro, can you imagine? Dude, that would be such a clippable moment as well. I'm going on an absolute just like lore rampage while I'm doing a 1v3. And you see the deeper meaning behind why Toland actually wanted to die is because he wanted to achieve a freedom from the light and also have some kind of independence from the darkness. Oh, no scope. And at the same time, he actually, you know, killed his ghost, but it was voluntary. It wasn't actually murder. It was assisted suicide, if you will. Oh, okay, yeah. Let me just shut down the super. Okay, there we go. Actually, just do low. Max is probably laughing his butt off. Yes, Benji. It's 10:30 at night for me. Dang, wow, 10 p.m. Trials is better than any caffeine. Yeah, guess. But but the thing is, like, caffeine wakes you up. Trials just stresses you out. It's like, no, it's not caffeine, it's adrenaline. What even is the thing? Dude, it's gonna be so sweaty. I don't even know what the map is. I just already know it's gonna be really bad. Okay, here we go. This is what I guess people wanted. 6 hours ahead of me. Dang, that's weird. Yeah. Yeah, I'm in Ireland, so... What are we gonna do? I'm gonna go with a relatively safe loadout, I think. Yay. Where is... No way, it's on a different character, surely. Let me back out. Back out real quick. Loading Destiny accounts. Downloading latest Destiny info from database. I'm hacking into the mainframe. Right, we're actually just gonna do this. This is kind of like my old reliable loadout. If the map is really short range, I'm obviously gonna change it. Do I want to go heavy? We're gonna try the light for now. If it's long range, actually, do you know what? If it's a short range match, I'll try the light burst. If it's the other one, do the heavy. The Trials matchmaking is fully operational, you'll find. Boy. Yeah. What's the map? Dissonance. Oh, it's my new favorite map. Let's go. We're gonna go heavy. Okay, guys. This is gonna be... I want to apologize to the poor souls who have been put with me. I will bring you nothing. Oh, let me just change my loadout real quick. Sorry. I will bring you nothing but sadness and misfortune. I will lose your mercy. I will sully your flawless. I will make your tears come.
1 minute left, my friend.
Oh, come on, I had him. No, dude. Okay, that actually wasn't my fault. Oh, I'm waking up now. I'm waking up now. Big stretch. Oh. I am being rejuvenated. You know, a wise man once gave me a really profound quote. It's not about winning. It's about making the other person lose. And, you know, when I used to play League of Legends, and I used to be addicted, when we would absolutely destroy the enemy team in a game, I would say to my friend, we are doing them a favor. We are performing a community service. Because these poor people are addicted. Their lives are being sucked away. Their bank accounts are being drained. We are an active intervention. We are not demoralizing them. I mean, we are. We're performing an act of mercy. Okay, I was out of range. Okay, no, this. Listen, this may be a complete lost cause, but I have some kind of dignity, and I don't be.
The other team leads. Let this motivate you.
Oh, do you know what? If things go really badly, I'm just gonna pull out the Jade Rabbit. I don't care, dude. I'm just gonna pull out the Jade Rabbit. Right, let's win this round. Yeah, so. Nope, nope. I got stuck in the corner, dude. That's so annoying.
1 minute left.
Ah, bro. It really is a hand cannon world. Oh, dude, I forgot I have Ignis. Ignis, wait a minute. I'm just gonna use this. Can use that, and I will.
This one was for your enemy. Next time, my friend.
Do this. Yeah. This. And all right, here we go.
Match point. Guardians make
Yep.
their name.
Solar targeting.
Defeat. Make
Boom.
yours now.
Activate the cheese. Cheese equipped. Recalculating. Oh, we're still trying to get it down in there.
1 minute left, my friend.
I melee whiffed. Dang it. I'm so bad, dude. I haven't played. Oh, we won though. We won. I haven't played PvP in so long. I just woke up. But remember, I think we can take a valuable lesson away from this. No matter how few hours of sleep you have obtained, no matter how early in the day it is, you will always be able to make excuses. So I think we can take something away from this. Oh, I'm dead. I accept my fate. Oh, no I don't. I defy it. I defy it. I defy it.
1 minute left, my friend.
Please don't die.
Only one enemy is left.
He's so low, dude.
Your ally is back in the fight.
Yep, you better run, boy. Come hither. Dude, wait. Are we making a comeback?
Guardian, my heart is still racing.
Are we making a comeback? By the way, it's all me. Just saying. I'm hard carrying these people.
Show them.
Dude, that guy is nuts. It's just instant. Okay, lose. I don't think he can get me. Or can he? Wait, he can. No.
Only one ally is left.
Okay, GG. This never happened. Never happened,
Next
dude.
time, my friend. Next
It
time.
did not occur. It did not occur. We're done. I'm done. I'm not doing this. I have too much dignity to put myself through that. Not even put you guys through that, to put myself through that. I'm not doing that. Trust me, okay? This isn't how I normally am. It's the way it beat it. Okay, yeah, man, I'm not even more awake now. I'm just stressed. Wasn't fun at all. Alright, let's see what you guys are saying. Probably are laughing at me. I went from League, so you pray for my soul, yeah. I went from Destiny to League. And for a while there, League really consumed me. Like really consumed me. I would pretty much just play it all day, every day. And then I stopped playing League because I realized that it's a team game. And I hate team games because I would have games where I would literally destroy the entire enemy team the whole match. But because the rest of my people... How do I say this in a polite way? Because the rest of my team were individuals, those who shall not be named, we couldn't actually finish them off, and so they would have time to catch up, and then at that point it would be over, because then they would have all caught up to how powerful I was, and then it would just be like... So I was like, dude, like, I'm literally, it's completely RNG. Like, in my opinion, and this is gonna sound like the biggest copium ever, but I'm actually telling you the truth. League of Legends is gambling. When you play League of Legends, it is a dice roll as to whether or not you win. It doesn't matter how good, I mean, it kind of, like, the amount of how good you are, it only matters to a certain extent. And you might be like, okay, well, it's funny you say that because there are people who are like a higher rank than you, and the people that make the highest rank, yeah. The reason why they do, the only reason, let me put it like this, right? You go to a casino, you're going to lose most of the time, because that's how they make their money. League will make you lose most of the time, because Riot wants your money, and they want your time. Okay? But if you go to a casino, and you just have infinite money, you're gonna hit the jackpot eventually, right? Like, you can brute force it with time. you can brute force it with time. So unless you're like unless you're actually bad and you are directly the one causing a game to be lost, right? If you are doing the best that you can, then if you just spend all your time, you will eventually climb. Because eventually the wins will you will get more wins than losses eventually through sheer brute force. And when I realized that, I was like, dude, like, what's the point? Like, because I'm a really competitive person, and I just felt like my time wasn't, like, what's the point, you know? So that was that, dude. Was basically why I stopped. I mean, I still play League every now and again. Like, I do enjoy the game to a certain extent, but I don't take it as seriously. The wizards are loud. I can turn the game down. Fine. Could be better. Let me know if it isn't. By the way, just to let you guys know, the thing I'm going to be working on today is a video on the Dread and why it doesn't make any sense with the light. I've seen a lot of different, you know, theories floating around and stuff like that, and I'm going to be brutally honest with you, and in this video, right, there is only one correct answer, and it's that this wasn't planned. This wasn't the original, I guess, you know, this wasn't the original explanation. And yeah, dude, no. And I think roughly what I'm just going to say in my video is that, yeah, it doesn't make any sense. I don't have an explanation for it, because there isn't really. And here's the thing, you know, I could come up with some really elaborate, like, oh, well, maybe this is how he's doing it. But I feel like, you know, you're kind of playing the fool because you're almost being disingenuous. Because it's like, you know that isn't what they were thinking, you know? So I think people need to know about that. I mean, I think, honestly, this video is almost more for myself. I think most people know that this is something that's really weird and off, but I just want to put that out there. And just kind of confirm exactly why. And I'm going to be honest with you, it's something that concerns me. I don't think this was planned. I think this is something that developed over the course of the delay. And I don't really like the narrative team doing that. I don't like them just shoehorning some explanation that doesn't even work. Like, the only reason, like let's be honest here, right? The explanation previously that we had, it worked completely fine. It works just completely fine. What does this new explanation actually achieve? And the only thing I can think of is that it makes them maybe like a little bit cooler. So again, it's, I don't know, I just feel like these things are not being done well, and they're not really being done for the right reasons. And to me, that makes me a little bit more nervous for the rest of the expansion. And I'm not going to go into it because it's actually still, like, I really don't like talking about it, but, you know, I really tried to defend the narrative team in the first Vidoc. Because I'm really not a hater, and I really don't want to be perceived that way because it's just not who I am. And so, like, I tried to give them the benefit of the doubt, and I tried to be very, you know, fair and all that, and I still am in a lot of ways. That night, the collab comes out about Pantheon and all that, and you get the new Nezarec quote-unquote lore with the typos in it. And it's the, again, like, I'm not going to go on a whole rant about it, but it is probably the most disgraceful piece of lore I have ever seen in anything, full stop. And I don't know if somebody on the narrative team did it. Going off of the typos and all that, I wouldn't be surprised if just the person who wrote the TWAB, that was just their understanding of Nezarec, and they're like, oh, okay, we'll just put this down. You know, I don't know. I genuinely don't know. But, like, that alone, and this might sound crazy, and that's fine. That alone genuinely took away some of my, I guess, confidence in the final shape. But, yeah. I'll tell you this, though. Especially after the final shape comes out, and depending on how things go, I'm definitely making that Nezarec video. And, it's probably going to be... Well, the original purpose of it, back in the day, was to give the complete, like, to literally pull apart every bit of information about the character from the lore. And that's what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to do that. I'm going to show you everything the character actually had and was. And then I'm going to show you what we got. And it's just going to be like, this is what we got. Like, this is sad. So that's definitely going to happen at this point. I don't know. I'm still waiting for after the final shape. Maybe something will happen, but... yeah. The sandwich arrives. Hello. The original final shape reveal stage that subjugators are the new... I know, exactly, dude. Exactly. Yes, yes. Yep. No, everything that you guys are talking about, I 100% agree with you. 100%. 100%. And I think that's why my ultimate kind of position right now is that I think the expansion is going to be really good. I actually think it's probably going to be... I'm not like 1,000,000%. There's a good chance, let's put it like this. There's a good chance it will beat Forsaken, okay? If it beats Forsaken, it's probably like the best expansion we've ever had, full stop. There's a good chance of that. What it all comes down to, though, is the story, and again, you could have this like, you know, really action-packed story, the amazing cinematics, you get the emotional moments with the characters, and the sick music, and the amazing raid. But for me, the most important thing about this expansion is it's the answers. And honestly, the first trailer for the final shape actually kind of hints at that, because you have the ghost talking about like, oh, like, you know, we never talked about why I chose you, you know, you're big questions and stuff like that. And so, yeah, no, for me personally, even if it's a 10 out of 10 expansion in every way, but the context of the story and the answers, that's gonna be rough, dude. And this is gonna sound, and I didn't go too much into it. The narrative team has a very, very difficult task ahead of them, because they have to juggle so many moving parts and so many different, you know, things. But the actual answers themselves, honestly, in my opinion, it's not actually, they don't actually have to make that much. It's already there. They just have to kind of pull back the curtain, right? So in a way, I don't even see the narrative team as necessarily the ones who have to do this. They are the vehicle for it. And they are the torch, they're the torch bearers, you know what I mean? And I'm just really hoping that they chose with the final shape to carry that torch that was set up by Stay In or Seth Dickinson or the Forsaken narrative team or whatever. And Just do that instead of, you know, oh, we have to stop the witness from overloading the reactor. You know. In my opinion, this is the narrative team's biggest test, 100%. Beyond Light, you can actually kind of forgive to a certain extent. Witch Queen kind of exists in a vacuum, and so I think Witch Queen allowed them to kind of, you know, flex their creative muscles without having to worry about too much continuity things, to an extent. Lightfall, we don't even talk about that. This is really their biggest test, in my opinion. And I think if Lightfall, or not Lightfall, if Final Shape comes out, and it just completely derails everything, I think that's an indication of priorities. But I'm hopeful, dude. I'm really hopeful. I think the Gardener reveal kind of has to happen at this point, so that alone gives me hope. I think the Veil as well actually gives me hope with the Winnower. Alright. And yeah, basically. What's wrong with the new Nez lore from Pantheon? Oh, dude, no, I'm not going into that, but it's pretty rough, man. Rough. Basically, they're just saying that dude was a clone of Rolk. And here's the thing, you know, some of the guys were saying, oh, well, it was actually just, you know, his tormentor body that was a clone. The head is him, you know, all that, whatever. But if you're just taking it out just like a literal interpretation, they're basically saying Nezarec was just a copy of Rolk. And then at the same time, Nezarec's Sin, the exotic helmet, was literally a psionic, like from the Scions. It was one of their like relics, which I fundamentally reject as well. And yeah, no, it's very, very silly. I'm hoping Lightfall failed because all the interesting stuff can be the Final Shape. I think that was partially it. I do think the thing was like super rushed though. I think the whole like destroy the Veil line, I think that's a sign of them really having to work fast, and then because they worked so fast they didn't realize that that was still in, so they couldn't pull that out. But yeah, I'm hoping. I look forward to your Nezarec lore video. Yeah, dude, it's gonna be it's gonna be a video again that's kind of like same with the unveiling video, dude. It's gonna be a video that's kind of more for me. But I think that if you're somebody who's invested in the world of Destiny and the story, I think you deserve to know about it. And I wouldn't say I'm alone, but like even like with Archival or Marzyr, these are like two people that I really respect with their knowledge of the lore. I kind of am alone in this, but you know, I really think Nezarec was the ultimate pyramid villain. The ultimate pyramid villain. I think that you can trace the character's roots potentially back to the Taken King, and I think that, you know, you had the original Staten cut vision of what the pyramids were. After D1 came out, and because Destiny 2 began development immediately, pretty much, after D1. So then they're like, okay, we gotta figure out, like, what the darkness, man. Dude. They always had the concept of what the gods were, right? Even if we didn't have, like, the terms gardener or winnower necessarily, you know, like, it was always kind of, because in development, after Staten left, Dickinson and some of the other dudes were brought in to do the grimoire. So, you know, Seth Dickinson, he comes in. He kind of looks roughly at the concepts that the State and Cut had, I guess, and then kind of does world building with that. So now they're making D2, and they are trying to figure things out. And I think they're like, yeah, we should figure out what the pyramids are. And I think that's where things like the Nashtoreth comes from. I think that's where things like the Cathedral of Dusk lore comes from. I think that's where some of the stuff even in Rise of Iron comes from. And I think really the Kolabayev Pyramid City picture is like the ultimate brainstorm of that. And I think they created an explanation for the pyramids, which was still the base concept of a race that had a golden nose that turned on the gardener. Who probably were human. And, you know, I think Nezarec was the main embodiment of that. And, I made a member video on this where I showed how Nezarec even... Like, Nezarec wasn't a concept that was just some random gimmick. Like, you can literally find connections between Nezarec and Pathways into Darkness.
This is a gauge of pure combat potential. Make me proud.
And yeah, no, dude. It's funny because, you know, you talk about whispers, and the whispers are completely like listen, like you can hear them in the pyramids and stuff like that, but they're just kind of now like a random whatever. I would say that like up until like okay, I'm gonna be completely brutally honest with you guys. My interpretation anyway, because like I've been digging into the whispers for several years at this point. Pretty much, if you want to boil down all of the whispers that have ever existed from vanilla Destiny 2 all the way until like Witch Queen, the whole purpose of the whispers is that it's the pyramid race, and most of the time, they're either talking about themselves, or they're talking about the gardener, or they're talking about Nezarec. It's one of those three things. And out of all the times whenever a name has been mentioned, has been stated, the vast majority of the time it's Nezarec. And I think that the fact that they've now dumped Nezarec, and then the whispers are just like this kind of leftover thing, and now they've made it so that the whispers are Nezarec's thing, I think that's a telling sign of that. So my point just overall is that this was a character who... Dude, I said I wasn't going to go into it. But anyway, this was a character who is like way more important than people actually realize, right? Because this was a dude who, like just literally, if you ask yourself, okay, so why didn't we see more of the character except for like little bits of lore here and there? It's because the character was going to be a thing in D3. The whole point of Destiny 2, for the most part, was building up D3. That's it. Which is why Beyond Light Forwards and Shadowkeep Forwards is effectively a different game. Shadowkeep is the reboot of D2 in a lot of ways. And then that's really, like, that was mainly done with Witch Queen, if we're being honest. And so, yeah, no. With Shadowkeep and the cancellation of D3, Nezarec was up in the air in terms of a concept, and it was one that, it's kind of like George Lucas, you know? George Lucas sold Star Wars to Disney, and he had his scripts and his ideas for the sequel trilogy. And he's like, hey guys, you can take this, you know, these are ideas and concepts that I approve of and that I think would work well with the universe. And they're like, oh, okay, yeah, thanks, awesome, yeah. And then they just like, yeah, but we're not gonna do that, dude. We're gonna go with something fresh. And I kind of think that's what ended up happening, really. And I understand for a fact that there are people who will be like, dude, you're literally saying all of this as copium because a character you like didn't have the lore go the way you wanted. I'm gonna be really like very clear with you guys. One of the only reasons why I even like Nezarec as a character is because of all the things that I discovered about him. That's really it. That's really it. And then, I don't know, dude, with Lightfall, my guess is, you know, they were trying to make the raid probably like last minute, I don't know. Considering there's like a full boss that never happened. And they were like, oh, what can we do? Oh yeah, we'll just put Nezarec into it. That's a loose end that we can tie up. And then they were just like, oh yeah, we'll just, you know, you'll make it a disciple. And then you have all the conflicting stuff, all the conflicting lore with Plunder and even some of the stuff in Season of the Haunted. And I genuinely think it's because even though they were actively trying to just, you know, shoehorn Nezarec, I don't think they were fully sure what to do. And I even think that Witch Queen shows signs of this, you know, conflict where it's like, well, what, like, do we want this character to be built up? Like, this is like a separate pyramid entity, you know? Do we want this to happen? And this is even in the Val the Disciple raid armor, like physically on it. You can find things of that look like Nezarec's Sin that are pretty, you know. And again, I go all over this in the one member video, but this will probably be a part of that Nezarec video sometime after the final shape, I don't know. And then, yeah, I think Lightfall, they just kind of, oh yeah, we'll just make it a disciple and raid boss, and we'll just lore, Nezarec is void, Scions are void, and the D2 Scion helmets kind of look like Nezarec's Sin. Okay, yeah, so we'll make that link, and I'm sorry guys that I let you down. Wave 43, oh well. And that was it, GG. The lore has been written, it cannot be undone. And even still, even with Lightfall, the Lightfall Nezarec lore still conflicts, because again, you have the connection between Nezarec and the Whispers, and you have the connection between him and the Whispers in the Moon Pyramid. And, yeah, dude, it's all just a mess. It's an absolute mess. And, I think this is what happens when you have a story that, quite frankly, changes hands too many times. It's kind of just what it is. And, you know, as much as it's easy to blame the writers, just to a certain extent, they are responsible. The real question is, why was it changing hands like this to begin with? And the reason why is because Destiny and the world of Destiny operates in an industry that does not prioritize storytelling. And Lightfall is proof of that. If the franchise and the industry and the company Bungie, as a corporate entity, if the story was their priority, Lightfall would have never released the way it did. Never would have, in my opinion. It just, no. But yeah, no. That's my take on that. I know I ended up rambling more than I should have, but, and that's me being like literally as respectfully as possible about it. Because again, as much as Nezarec is ultimately, I think, the writer's responsibility, the only reason why this happened was because of the industry and the way that it kind of exists, you know. And maybe I'm wrong, but I'm at the point where there's literally just so much stuff that exists, and it's just, I can't ignore it. So, what time is it? Yeah, I'll do one more run. I'll do one more run, and hopefully we can finish it. I'm not too fussed though. I doubt I'm gonna get my roll that I wanted, but actually, that's a good roll. Heal clip. I don't care, dude. Heal clip and kill clip. pretty good. Let me check light.gg real quick. And for the record, I mean, no, I'm gonna be honest with you. I think the Gardener and Windward stuff it's slightly different because it's a much more core concept to the franchise. I do think if the Windward and Gardener stuff falls through, I do think that's a writer thing solely. So, okay, so Incandescent is the #1 perk for PvE. And then I guess Magnificent Howl is for PvP. I'm only going to be using this for PvP. So, I guess Heal Clip and Kill Clip is... And I know the barrels aren't necessarily the best, but... Oh wait, no, Armor Piercing Rounds is literally #1. Wait a minute.
Or wait a minute, Bingus.
Corkscrew? Oh my goodness, I literally just got the God Roll. Holy crap, dude. Let's go. Oh no, it's not. I'm such a bingus, man. It's not that. It's Heel Clip and Magnificent Howl. Oh well. Actually, that's pretty close though, right? Third. Incandescent is first. Magnificent Howl is second. And then Kill Clip is... Number of precision final blows before reloading affects the total rounds granted. Yeah, I think for PvP I'd actually prefer this. It's a bit more reliable. So I'm going to keep that then. Envious Assassin, nope. Nope. Okay, fine. Okay, we'll do one more. I'm gonna probably get more coffee and I'm going to start working on the script. Oh, dude, sorry. Yep, I will lower the game. There you go. That should work. There you go. If that isn't better, let me know. But that should do it. Yeah, because the game volume doesn't really matter at all. My bad. They're not done with the Nezarec. They keep setting up for its return. Yeah, and that's the thing, dude. As a concept, Nezarec is something that I feel is like too valuable to throw away. Just as a gimmick, even, you know. And even Bife's been like, you know, who's gonna lead the Dread after the Witness is gone and all this, and yeah, but that's kind of not how I look at things. I think that characters should be seen as characters and not tools. I'm not saying I'm dissatisfied with finally getting the BBEG. BBEG. I don't know what that is. BBEG. Rid of nightmares for starting last minute. Take care, Sting. Hope you have a great day, man. Somebody said that... Am I in the majority for liking the Witness as a villain? And liking... Are you in the majority? In terms of liking where the final shape is going, I think you are in the majority. In terms of liking the Witness as a character, I don't think so. I don't think the majority hate the Witness, but I think the majority are kind of a bit more indifferent. You know? Here's the problem, right? Like, you can take information and context and lore that adds to the character, but we've never actually really met the character. We've never really seen them properly. And every time the Witness has been presented, it's been in a vague, like, oh, I'm mysterious and I'm ominous and I'm whatever. for the sake of, and that's the issue, right? This is why the Witness is a failure as a concept to me personally. The Witness was introduced and created, and if you look at every aspect of its identity, from the way it talks, to how it looks, to its presence in the story up until the final shape, the Witness has existed as a cardboard layout for an ominous, mysterious villain. That is just what the Witness is. That is literally... The Witness speaks in a way that makes it mysterious and ominous and vague. The Witness looks in a way that is mysterious, ominous, and vague. The presence that the Witness has had in the world has been mysterious, ominous, and vague. And, yeah, no, I think that is why... And even if, like, most people don't think about it like that, that is, I think, why they lack a more, like, a personal connection to the villain, if that makes sense.
Good work, Guardian.
Like, you take Oryx, for example. The simple concept of he's doing this because we killed his son immediately creates an emotional and personal connection to the character. Yeah. You know what's actually really interesting as well, dude? Is that going back to Unveiling and the I always keep finding more and more things that separate the Witness from the Winnower. The Winnower's whole thing is about the argument, right? The big debate. The Witness doesn't care about any of that. Like, the Witness is like, dude, I don't care if my argument is bad or not. I'm just going to do what I need to do to win. But the Winnower, like, actually wants to have this argument and wants to win that. Which is why it is like, oh yeah, you're the Gardener's final argument, and I want to see how this plays out, you know? So that's... But even that, it's like, you mean everything to me because you are the proof of my argument, or you're the proof of her argument. That again creates a personal link between us and the Winnower. A character who we've never even met before, and we've never even seen in the game. Just because we now establish that value, and we know what we mean to the character. With the Witness, again, it's this ominous, vague, mysterious entity. You talked about how the Witness made the Dread of the Light, but does the... No. Does it... Wait, sorry, does it answer it made the Tormentor? Sorry. Yeah, yes? I guess, yeah, it does. So the Dread, I guess, now are made from... Okay, I'm gonna give you the version that is the least offensive to me. Okay? If you disagree with it, that's fine. But because that lore is a little bit open to interpretation, this is my version of it. Nezarec was his own entity, his own being. When he died, they needed to make a new body for him, so they made his new body, right? Then, what they did was they then copied that new body, and that's the Tormentors. So yes, you are correct. We do know how the Tormentors were made. And they weren't made using the light. And this is the kicker, okay? Because people are like, oh well, maybe Nezarec had like a ton of void light they used, you know, or maybe, you know, we know that the Witness has the radial mast, and so we know that the pyramids have light artifacts and all these different things, right? Here's the kicker, and this is why Bungie, I think, shot themselves in the foot. It's not that the Witness made the Dread using the light. Nope. Nope. It's that the Witness used the light specifically that it siphoned from the Pale Heart while it was in it. There is no fixing that. There is no fixing that at all. And again, like, we can try and come up with reasons, but we have the real life reason, which kind of trumps all of that. And so, yeah, I don't know, dude. I feel like it was unnecessary and they didn't need to say it. I'm not fussed by it, right? Like, I'm not, like, mad or anything, but I just think I think it's goofy, and it makes me kind of concerned that if this is what they're doing to the... This is effectively them adding to the story of the final shape during the delay. And I'm not against them doing that, but if this is an indication of the quality of these additions, that is what kind of concerns me. So. Oh, big bad evil guy. Thank you. Let me just check the thingy-majiggy. You think the pyramid blade will actually blade? Dude, I would love that if they did. I think it's an amazing concept, and it was really great. But I wouldn't be surprised if they forget about it. Put it bluntly. Because from a gameplay perspective, you need Witch Queen to get the blade. And, yeah. I think the because I remember it's like, oh yeah, you're gonna use the blade to kill the witness or defeat the witness, but at the same time, if you need Witch Queen to get the blade, to be granted, they made Witch Queen free, to be fair, but it's still, you know, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they just leave it and they ditch it. They hinted that we'll learn more about the witness in the final shape. Okay, yeah, I mean, of course, because we're going to kill the witness, right? Like, hopefully you would learn about the character before you kill them. But the problem is, like, you had 2 expansions before that. And that's not the time to do that, you know? And here's the thing. I even think, first of all, there's no reason why we didn't learn about the witness more in Nightfall. There's no reason at all. But at the very worst case scenario, dude, we should have had a season about it, you know? If you have Season of the Deep, and you're already getting a cutscene about the witness's origins, we should have learned more about the character. We already learned a good amount of them in Italiki, so no, but that's the thing. So what I said at the beginning, Blinky, is that yes, they have added to the character, but I'm talking about what the character represents and when they introduce the character. So let me put it like this. They introduced the witness, and for all intents and purposes in Witch Queen, blank slate. We knew nothing about it. Now, I was able to kind of piece together, you know, like, okay, well, it's not the actual darkness because this and this happened and whatever, and, you know, the pyramid race, yada yada, this and this. You know, I can kind of piece together things, but to the wider Destiny community, and honestly, just in general, the witness was a blank slate. Right? And they've just kind of, they introduce, it's almost like, and I'm not saying this did happen, but it's almost like they just made the concept, introduced it, and then kind of tacked onto it as time went on. And, yeah, no, I think that's, well, and it's not that, like, everybody is, like, thinking about this, but these are, like, it's like a subconscious reason why you're not as invested in the character. Morning, Felix. About to start my your whole free week. That's awesome, dude. Hope you have a great time. I started playing, what's it called? Wuthering Waves, Felix. Really good, dude. I was actually going to play it on stream if I won the coin toss. I put a coin toss between Destiny or that, and Destiny won, so. It is what it is. I don't really get how the witness using the light to make the dread is a problem. No. No. Let me explain this again. We can go into the nitty-gritty, like, oh, how can they be made using the light if they use the darkness, and we can get into the nitty-gritty of that. But that's actually missing the point. The problem is that Bungie stated that the dread were made using light specifically that was siphoned from the Pale Heart. Okay? So we have a time frame. And they also said that the Dread are members of the Dread. They're like, and you've already met a member of the Dread, the Tormentors. So that automatically doesn't work, okay? That's the world reason why it doesn't work. Now this is the real life reason why it doesn't work. Because we know the dread did not exist before the delay. They specifically said the subjugators are the new pyramid units coming with the final shape. And my belief, and for the record, they aren't called subjugators anymore. They're now the Omen and the Harbinger. So subjugators, that was the faction name. Subjugators are gone. The faction name is the Dread. So, the Tormentors were introduced in Lightfall. We didn't really know what they were. You know, I guess we can now say they were clones of the body Nezarec got or whatever, but you know, that's that. Then there were the Subjugators. Now, with the delay, they make the Dread faction, and they lump in the Tormentors with that as well. Then the narrative team decides to add on some extra lore to them and say, oh, well, they actually, how about we make it so that the Dread were made using the light, whatever. And that'll make them stand out more and kind of add, you know, to the story of final shape and all. That's great. But then you have the Tormentors. Now, I know what the counter argument may be. What if it's only the Dread units that were made in the Pale Heart? Okay, well, no, that's different. But that hasn't been established yet. And as of right now, the Tormentors are Dread. And the explanation about the light applies to all members of the Dread. So that is the core problem. It's a time frame that the Tormentors don't fit into. And keep in mind, again, for the record, we don't know when Tormentors were necessarily made. We can assume with the Nezarec stuff that it was probably close to Lightfall's time period, but again, it's we don't know. We don't know. Morning, Concept. Hope you are having a great day. I see it's loading for me right now. Oh, okay. Again, I highly doubt it crossed your interest, but I was kind of hoping you'd have a little reaction for me. Reaction for me. Did you say something earlier? Make it slow up. Oh, no, don't. I'm gonna get destroyed. You're good. I think you're talking about your channel. I have been meaning to look at that, but I keep forgetting. I'll tell you what. I am going to look at that either after this run, or if it looks like something that needs more time to get the focus and attention it deserves, I will look at it at the beginning of the next stream, if that is what you're talking about. But I do want to look at that. But at the same time, I don't want to just like, oh, okay, let's just look at the channel. Oh, yeah, okay, let's go. Oh, nice, okay, man. I don't want to do that either, because I don't think that's fair. I mean, just the Tormentors made before explains itself. No. Well, no. No, man, because it's not that they were just made before. It's about how they were made. Again, if the statement is that they were made using light that was taken from the Pale Heart, then the Tormentors don't fit that time frame. Right? It isn't that they were made using the light. It was what light? You get what I'm saying? It's what light? Let me give you this example, right? I have my tap from my sink, okay? And I fill up a bucket with water from that tap. I water one of my flowers. Then I walk later in the day to a well, and I fill up the bucket from the well, and I water the rest of my flowers. And then I say to you, I watered my entire garden with water from the well. And you know that I used water from the tap or not from the well. So like, dude, this flower here, that doesn't make sense. You said that it was all from the well, and it's all water, right? But it's not. But it's which water? The source of the water. So that's why it doesn't work. And again, like, we can get into semantics, but okay, well, why does it actually matter? Do you know why it doesn't matter? It doesn't matter because the real reason is that the dread never were meant to exist. Okay? That's the brutal, honest reason. The reason why it doesn't matter and why this is all goofy is because the dread were never supposed to exist. They made them during the delay, and the explanation about the light is a shoehorned statement added in to make the dread have a little bit more of something to stand on. That is it. That is why it doesn't matter. That's why it's goofy. But that is why it doesn't work. So, yeah. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter because it wasn't necessary. It didn't need to happen. And again, it's not something that offends me or that bothers me, but like, again, what I will say is that if this was something that was added in during the delay, if this is something that is goofy and didn't really need to happen and doesn't make sense, if this is an indication of the quality of anything else story-wise that was added in during the delay, then that is cause for concern. But I'm not saying that is the case. But it's food for thought. Brigs were made after Scourge of the Past, the lore being the blueprints got distributed around outside. Brigs were made after Scourge of Past. Lore being the blueprints got distributed around outside the... I may have missed an earlier message that set that up, but I'm not good. I mean, that makes sense. As soon as I saw you live, I was instantly motivated to play some Nightfalls. That's interesting. I mean, yeah, okay. Hopefully that goes well for you, dude. Hopefully you get good teammates and you get good loot. But can't Tormentors be included into the Dread, even if they are not made into the pill? I'm being picky with this? I mean, listen, okay. Again, this is something that wasn't necessary to begin with, right? The fact that we're going this deep into it is something that, again, isn't necessary. I am literally taking what Bungie said and giving you my opinion on why it doesn't work, right? If in the final shape, they come up with this whole reason on why the Tormentors are... I mean, okay, fine. Dude, we literally got a twab last week, or this week, or whatever, that told us how the Tormentors were made. The Tormentors have a different origin to the Dread, full stop, okay? But it was also Bungie who said that they were the Dread. So all I am doing is saying, this is what Bungie has said, and this is what the indications are, and this is what the complications are that come from it. And the final statement on that is that it's goofy. It's goofy. Now, if you want to get into the nitty-gritty of why the light being used to make the Dread doesn't work, we can get into that, but it doesn't, we don't have to because it doesn't work either way. So. Listen, I think the Dread are cool. I think the Tormentors are cool. I'm looking forward to fighting them in the final shape. I'm just saying, from a narrative perspective, it's goofy. That's all. But they weren't exactly the Dread, or just a last-minute addition, or a last-minute enemies built quickly. The concepts may have existed before the OG final shape reveal, but yeah. Yeah, and in my opinion, I think if the Dread as a faction, like, for example, I'm making this up. Let's say that the rest of the Dread units were gonna be made after the final shape and then, like, gradually given to us, right? I wouldn't be surprised if they had, like, a different origin story, right? I mean, the Dread already kind of had an explanation that worked, so we don't have to really go too much into it, but yeah, that's kind of that. It's just kind of the whole light thing. It's just something that was kind of tacked on, if that makes sense. From what I understand, the Tormentors are only made with darkness. The Dread are a mix of light and dark, since they can... I wouldn't say that you're wrong. Again, Cobb, the issue is that Bungie is saying the Tormentors are the Dread. And it's like the whole like, oh, and you've already met a member of the Dread. It's the Tormentors. You know, it's that whole... That's kind of what sunk them, right? That is kind of what sunk them. Even, this is another example. The fact that the Tormentors, as far as I'm aware, are the only ones who don't use darkness powers. I might be wrong saying this, but all of the other Dread... Don't all of the other Dread have Stasis or Strand? I know there's the Grim, but the Grim have like the Resonance Burst, like the Scream, I don't know. So there's that as well. Again, I'm not trying to make this a whole thing, because it isn't a whole thing. It's just something that's small and goofy. But, like, I do think it is something that is worth pointing out. I think the idea that Bungie says things that contradict themselves, and we can't point it out, I think that that is not something that I'm willing to do. Final shape is ruined, guys. Cancel your pre-orders. They got it wrong. It's all wrong. The Dread weren't a workable faction before the delay. No, I actually think they were. They 100% were. 100%. You just say that the Witness has been reshaping races since it was made, and the Dread are a collection of races that it has finalized that have been made suitable for war. That's it. Introduced. It works perfectly fine. Works absolutely perfectly fine. No issues whatsoever. The Dread themselves, they work completely fine. No issues with them at all. No issues. It's just that when you get into the whole... And again, when I'm talking about the light and which light that it's using, it's a time frame thing. When Bungie says the Witness used this specific light from this specific source, that is basically saying the Dread were only made after the Witness went into the Pale Heart. Okay? Okay. So when you say the Tormentors are the Dread too, that's a different time frame. It's a different... doesn't work. And again, in the final shape, they may come out and say, okay, well the Tormentors are actually different. They're like the Proto-Dread or something. That fixes that issue, okay? But we aren't there yet. And so I'm simply taking them at their words right now. The Tormentors can be part of the Dread even though they weren't made the same way. I'm going to give you a non-answer, and I'm going to say that that's going to come down to your personal interpretation. There are going to be some people, like perhaps yourself, who look at it that way, and there will be others who will be like, yes, but we don't have any other factions that are really like that. And that doesn't work. And again, this is again taking from what Bungie has said at face value. So this is what I'm going to say, okay? This is what I'm going to say. This is the final thing I'm going to say about this, guys. I'm not going to go any more deeply into it because it really doesn't need to. Bungie has made the statement. If you take Bungie's words at face value and you look at the information presented, the Dread do not work. If you take Bungie's words and you add your own interpretation onto it, then you can make it work, and that's fine. But that's going to be on a person-by-person basis. But at the end of the day, both sides don't matter because the Dread were not supposed to be made. Okay? The Tormentors were made before the Grim and the Husk were even designed. It wasn't, you know... Again, the Subjugators were going to be the only new units from that specific type of whatever. So you have the information, you have the literal, and the oh man, we're going into unveiling again, and you have the interpretation of it. But at the end of the day, there's a real life answer that goes beyond both. So, and that is what it actually. And again, final statement. That is my final thing on it. My biggest issue with the light being added into the mix, was that it wasn't necessary. It didn't need to happen. Again, earlier on I said, what does the witness using the light for the dread... Let me put it like this, right? You look at the dread, right? I want you to imagine the dread in your mind. When you look at them, do you think, yeah, they were made using the light? No, you don't think that. You don't think that. You know what makes you think that? The Lucent Hive, because they are literally Hive Guardians. Okay? What do you see when you look at the Dread? You see Resonance, Stasis, and Strand. That's mainly it. Yes, the Tormentors have Void, but again, this is the Tormentors we're talking about. So when Bungie says that the Dread were made using the light, what does that achieve? What does that achieve? It doesn't really achieve anything. Because regardless of what the witness used to make the Dread, it made the Dread for the one reason. The reason why the Dread are made, regardless of what's used to make them, stays the same. Therefore, the light wasn't needed. That's it. So no, you know, we're having all of this like, oh, well, what if it's this and that? No, it didn't need to happen. It's a hole that Bungie put them in without needing to. But I'm done arguing about it because it's just kind of like, you know, going in circles, and at the end of the day, it really isn't a big deal. No, but I know how long it takes to come up with a concept. I'll make that in 6 months. I'm just trying to rationalize why they'd word it like that, and that's fine. Dude. Again, listen. When I say like your interpretation, that isn't me putting a lesser value. Okay? When I say like it's up to your interpretation, what that is effectively doing is, this isn't an objective fact that has like the authority above everyone. This is your own, like, this is a person by person thing, right? So like, you have your perspective and you have your interpretation. I can't force my one on you. I can present to you why logically my one might make more sense, but it is your choice to accept that or not, or to refute that with logic of your own, right? That is what a discussion is. And in the end, if I present my argument and you are unconvinced and your argument makes more sense to you, then that is what you stick with, and that is perfectly fine. You know? So yeah, no. If you're trying to figure things out and that's what you can do, go for it, man. Go for it. It's only by sharing the different ideas that we can actually figure out, you know, things. The Dread are a faction. Members of the Dread are literally different races. The Tormentors were made before. Yeah, and if that's, listen, if that is your interpretation of it, that's fine. The main reason why I don't personally buy that is because I'm taking Bungie's words at face value. And I'm applying like a literal, you know. And you might like ask, well, why are you doing that? Why are you just taking them and like why aren't you like thinking of the extra context and all that? For me personally, I think that kind of is a slippery slope, because if you get into the mindset of I can't, like, when Bungie says something, I should, you know, okay, well, I'm sure there's a deeper meaning or something behind it. Maybe you're right, but it can create a slippery slope where you effectively question everything, and you may be looking for answers where there are none, and yeah, especially like with theory making and theory crafting, it can result in theories that are based off of something that never happened, right? So that's why I go with what's the easiest? What is the easiest explanation? It's the face value. Taking it at face value will oftentimes be the most easiest bare bones basic answer. And for example, if the final shape was 3 months away, for example, my opinion would probably be like, they said this, but they're going to give us an explanation, right? But because we're like only like a week away, like we're gonna find out anyway, so I'm just, you know. Now, for example, if the final shape comes out and we learn absolutely nothing about, well, no, but that's the thing, dude. We learned about how the tormentors were made. Dude, I'm not. It's pointless. Pointless. It's not the end of the world. Not the world. If you know, you know.
Everything dies, Guardian. But when you're around, it happens so much faster.
I'm a solo developer, brand new to game dev, and I can do that in less than 6 months. Okay, I mean, like, it's not one rule applies to all, right? Like, in my opinion, if we're trying to be like fair about it, do I think that the attendants and the weavers were made quickly? That would make sense, yes. But I don't know. I don't know how the company operates. I don't know if they literally ended up going through 3 other Dread units and scrapping them, and then that also went into the you know, the time frame. Like, we don't know these things. So I don't think we can really. But the one thing that we can say is that the Dread were made during the delay. I think we can fairly say that. I do. A new subclass is a huge addition to the game. What's the role on your hammerhead? I have oh, no, not again. Not again, dude. I have rewind rounds and killing tally. Which is another thing they absolutely would have advertised. Bungie's words and actions. Oh no, I lost it again. Bungie's words and actions don't align. Yeah, I don't. Yeah. I don't know. It's tricky, man. Like, I'm gonna be clear, like, the whole Dread thing, it's not a hill I'm trying to die on. It's not me trying to crap on Bungie for the sake of it. But they made a statement. If you compare it to literally even what they said in the TWAB from this week, there's contradictions, it doesn't make sense. Maybe they'll explain it, maybe they won't. But at the very least, it's worth saying that it's something that needs clarification. Okay? That's all I'm saying. And I think I'm allowed to say that, right? It's like, oh, this thing doesn't make any sense. Well, I'm just gonna make up my own thing and we'll go with it. Like, that's just, I personally don't want to do that. But it doesn't need to be, it's nothing that major, dude. I just thought it was something interesting people would want to know. But at the end of the day, right? Because like now I'm even questioning, like, do I even want to make this video if this is gonna spark a whole debate that I don't even want to exist? But at the end of the day, like, I've had several comments from people saying, like, I am confused about this. So, like, I think it's worth mentioning. So it's highly likely that Prismatic was made during the delay as well. Yeah, I would, no, yes, it is. Yes, I would agree. Yeah, yeah. If you ever want a reason why Prismatic was mainly probably made during the delay, look at what the main, like what the kind of cover for Final Shape is. A lot of the time now, they're showing Prismatic on the front cover. Why? Because a new subclass, traditionally, on the front cover, boosts pre-orders. It's that simple. It's that simple.
We've got to make mana.
What do I think about Prismatic? I get the impression there was a post-delay decision. Addition. Yeah, I think it was post-delay. And I think that them simply mixing and matching existing elements definitely allowed them to make it quicker, you know? And then limiting the combinations makes it easier to develop and faster to develop, you know? Things like that. So I do think Prismatic, in terms of the rough stuff, was probably quick to make. And again, the reason why I'm saying that, even though, you know, whatever, is because it's made using pre-existing elements, right? Because, like, if you make a brand new element, you know, you have to, okay, now it's a damage type on weapons, and we have to have, like, verbs like radiant, and slowed, and weakened, and it's a whole mess. It's a whole can of worms, dude. But, I don't think Prismatic is really that much of a major, you know... No, like, they're still balancing, yeah, but them limiting it, like the combinations, it makes their life a lot easier. It makes their lives a lot easier. Good night, John. Are we in the first Final Shape trailer, Guardians of the Purple Shimmer, so I'm not too sure. I've heard that, dude, but I'm not too convinced about that myself.
Put your enemies down before they do the same to you.
I'm not too convinced. By the way, I'm also definitely not 100% convinced that there was never an actual darkness subclass in development. I think, as a concept, Prismatic, I mean, no, like, Prismatic, it really is something that, on paper, it's something that you would get after having the last darkness subclass, right? Like, you get your 3 light subclasses, and then over the years you get your 3 darkness subclasses, and then Prismatic is the ultimate, like, combination, you know? Good morning, Arctic. I hope you are having a good morning, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. The only way to make the sensibility of the witness, strict example, yeah. I agree with you on the Pale Heart stipulation, but the Tormentor's relation to the Dread seems up in the air. No, it's up in the air. It is up in the air, 100%. Okay, listen, if you want the most generous and fair statement from me, they have created something which now puts the Tormentors up in the air, and we need clarification, okay? I think that is something we can all agree on. That is something everybody can agree on. Would you like an explanation on that? I think you would. Why not? If I were in charge of the Dread, I would have made it resemble the story we were being told. Yeah, I agree. I do. Rewind. Stop it, dude. Not today. The Dread wasn't a delay concoction. They just weren't really be shown in August reveal. I disagree with that, dude. I disagree with that. I disagree. I really don't think they were intended as a whole. I really think that Bungie made the subjugators and called it a day. Cause this is the easiest reason for you, Max, and I think you're gonna agree with this. What is the purpose of a faction? Okay, an enemy faction. They exist. Oh dang, they exist as an army. They're a mini army comprised of multiple units. Okay? And they all complement each other, and they, and so, you fight 5 fallen at the time, and each member is the different unit, and they all synergize and work together. Okay. What's the purpose of the Tormentors? The Tormentor is a walking tank that comes in and assists or assisted the Shadow Legion. Okay? It is a support unit. That is what the Tormentors are. They're a support unit. You're not fighting 5 of them normally, You're fighting your dudes. Come on, man. You're fighting your normal enemies, and then the Tormentor comes in, and you're like, oh, dang. That is what the purpose for the Subjugators were. And they said this. The Subjugators are the backline units that reinforce and support the others. Okay? So the Omen, the Harbinger, they're the backline. They're supporting the Hive, or the Taken, or the Shadow Legion you're fighting. That is their purpose. Now we have the Dread. Now you have the no more Subjugators. You have the Omen, Harbinger, Attendant, Weaver, Grim, Husk, Tormentor. Now you have your army. So that is why I don't believe that the Dread were always planned for the final shape, because the Subjugators themselves were designed for a different purpose than an actual faction. They were standalone units that complemented other factions. And now with the creation of the other Dread, it's going to be interesting to see how they are actually introduced and how they play out in game, because you're going to have the Grim and the Husks and the Attendants and Weavers that are kind of like the fodder. But again, Tormentors and Subjugators were not designed for that. They're kind of like the, whatever. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see some changes to how Tormentors and the Subjugators work, to make them fit into a faction better. If that makes sense. Also, if we're being completely brutal with it, pre-orders. What would have gotten Bungie more pre-orders? Them saying, we're introducing 2 units that are kind of copies of each other called the Subjugators, or, guys, we're introducing a brand new Darkness faction called the Dread, and we're keeping things pretty close to our chest, but we'll show you 2 of them, and we're calling these the Omen and the Harbinger. People are like, dang, bro, we're getting a new Darkness faction with the final shape. Sign me up. Pre-orders, money. That's just how I look at it. It is what it is. Dude, I guarantee you, Rampage and Killing Tally, whatever, they intentionally make that harder to get as a rule. For sure, dude. I love... Oh, dude, come on. Winter. Oh. The rest of the Dread were made quickly. Their lore was turned out quickly with little... And I think that, and in Trash, I would share that opinion. And I think that is a perfectly valid opinion. But if you disagree with that, I think whatever opinion you have is also, it's up to you, right? Excuse me. Hello. In your video, you said it was worrying the Tormentors were created due to the experimental light. Oh, okay. My friend, I'm just going to say that it begs the question of what the explanation for the Tormentors are, and it makes it clear to me that we need more context and information surrounding that, and I hope we get that with the final shape. But until then, I think it's worth knowing, and I think it's worth that people know about that. Yeah. We've been going back and forth about this so long. I didn't mean this was never supposed to become a thing. Any thoughts on where Bungie's going with the Vex? Yes! Thank you, Londo. It's a brilliant question. Okay, let's change the topic. Okay, guys. Yeah. I think that the Vex are Bungie's been using the Vex as a filler tool to act as filler, which is why I think they've never really fleshed out the Vex properly. It is a shame, but it is what it is, and that's my opinion. I think that as they begin to flesh out the Vex, we're going to understand more of like their origins and also what their core leadership are or is, and we will gradually begin cutting them down. The Vex basically were the only race that survived D1. Cabal, Fallen, Hive. We pretty much crushed and broke those. The Vex didn't, because we didn't crush the Vex because we had no idea of what we were working with, or we didn't have the information. I think with Echoes, if we free Praedyth, we get the Ishtar people, we can actually learn more and figure out how to destroy the Vex. And I think as time goes on, Bungie will do a wombo combo of raising the threat that the Vex present and also giving us the information on how to destroy them in terms of their origins, their leadership, all of that. That is what I think the future is with the Vex. Okay. We have 5 hammerheads. I'm not getting the role I want from any of them. Please, dude. Please just give it to me. Please give it. At the end of the tunnel, only darkness. I think the existence of tessellation reveals Prismatic was a least concept. Do you know, Shmer, that is probably the one thing that that does lean into that. I agree with you. I do agree with you there. I don't know what it is, right? The only thing I can think of is this. And this is just my opinion, but I don't think it makes sense to get Prismatic before a Darkness subclass. Okay? I do think that Final Shape should be where we get the last Darkness subclass. Is there a chance we get both? Is there a chance that they were keeping the Darkness subclass as a secret and then they made Prismatic during the delay? Really quickly? Snip schnup? Maybe. I don't know. I'm going to give you a picture and I'm going to tell you something, and it's going to be very dark. And when I say this, I'm not saying this as a joke. I'm not saying this to make light of this, and I am not saying this to be disrespectful. And I want everybody here to know that. The reality is that the Final Shape did not get the pre-orders Bungie needed. Okay? Okay. And beyond what they're adding with the delay, do you want like the golden proof of that? The fact that they added rewards that you get when you pre-order. Okay? What was the result of Bungie not getting the pre-orders that they needed? Well, first of all, it was a delay. Second of all, it was the layoffs. If the Final Shape was announced, and it got the amount of pre-orders as Lightfall or Witch Queen, I do not believe that the layoffs would have happened. I don't believe so. I do not think so. Lightfall, again, was their most successful year in a very long time. If they got the same amount of pre-orders as Lightfall, I don't think that, whatever. That's just my opinion. That's how I look at it. Like I said earlier, what did people want to make them pre-order, right? What gets people, what sells? The first is a subclass. Beyond Light. They had stasis. Put stasis on the box. Instant pre-orders. There was a percentage of people who, as soon as they saw stasis on the box, that was it, they were sold. Not saying everybody, but a percentage. Witch Queen didn't have that. Question is then, why did Witch Queen then do okay? Well, it's because Beyond Light represented a new beginning, and they showed things like weapon crafting, the idea of the pyramid raid, the new story structure. Witch Queen represented a new level of polish from Bungie. And there were enough things in Witch Queen to make people go, huh, okay. So there's no subclass. Oh, sorry. No, but there was. Void 3.0. You know? We were redoing the light subclasses. Also, Witch Queen had a new enemy faction, the Lucent Hive. There you go. A new enemy faction. So no new subclass, but we got a new enemy faction. We got weapon crafting. What? We got a pyramid raid. And we've got revamped light subclasses. Look absolutely nuts. I remember, Void 3.0 looked absolutely broken and overpowered back in the day. With a brand new campaign structure. There was enough there to sway people, for sure, without a doubt. Lightfall comes out. Why did Lightfall sell well? Strand was on the box. Strand was on the box. But right away, you're like, oh, dude, yeah, Strand, wow, yeah. There's a percentage of people that bought Strand, or that bought Lightfall purely for Strand. What else did Lightfall have? Nothing. Literally nothing. But it had a title. And that title had a lot of weight to it. So people believed. And also, they had just come off of Witch Queen, which was amazing. So that gave the title even more weight. Lightfall fails. Now you're looking at the final shape. What does the final shape have? It has a title. Title means nothing at this point. No value, no trust, nothing. New destination. Inside the Traveler. It just looks like a bunch of copied and pasted destinations. Like it's okay, cool, but like I'm not, like, oh, whoa, I'm not saying this is me. It was kind of me, but like it's, this is just like the destination alone isn't selling, right? What else? What else is there? No new subclass. The Subjugators, 2 units who just kind of look like copies of each other. For people who wanted a race, that's not going to tick their box. Story? After Lightfall, literally nobody gives a crap. Like, you need to prove to us that this is going to be good. And because Bungie were like, oh, we're going to be secretive and we're keeping things close to our chest, guys. Trust us. I'm sorry, but I don't trust you. That's the problem. So, like, I respect and I appreciate that you don't want to, like, reveal things, but, like, I don't want to give you my money just yet because of that. So, from the people that you're going to get pre-orders from, the percentage, who will pre-order no matter what because of a subclass, they're out. The people who would have pre-ordered regardless because of a new enemy faction or race, they're out. And the reason why I'm saying this is because when they first announced the final shape, I saw multiple people in streams or comment sections saying, yeah, because it doesn't have that, I'm not pre-ordering. Whether it be a faction or a subclass. And the story, nobody who values the story has faith. They're not going to pre-order based off of expectations of a good story. And keep in mind, this isn't just pre-orders, this is the price tag. Because they really want you to spend the $100, right? So don't think 50. Oh, also, sorry, my bad. What else are you getting with the pre-order? You get echoes. Guess what? This is the Forsaken era all over again. We have no idea what an episode looks like. Most people don't even know if they want to stay with the franchise after the final shape ends. Do you think they care about getting an episode? They have no idea what it looks like. Listen, we have no idea what it looks like right now. We haven't even seen Red Death. So if you're sitting there and you're thinking about pre-ordering, what do you get? Apart from a destination that doesn't have anything that crazy, my opinion, on paper, you have the monolith, but apart from that, it's just a combination of other destinations. What do you get? You get a story that you don't automatically have faith in. And with your $50, you get an episode which you know nothing about. You don't even know if it has a raid or anything. You don't know what the weapons look like. You don't know what the artifacts are going to be. Like, you know nothing. It's literally a pre-order based off of faith. And the only percentages of people who literally would pre-order no matter what, you have the diehard Bungie fans. You have the people like me where I'm sticking it out for the long run anyway. And also, I make videos of this game, so I kind of have to anyway. And then you have the old reliables, the subclass and the faction people. Both of them are gone. So the final shape gets bad pre-orders. Obviously, like that's what happens. The final shape gets bad pre-orders. So the reason why I gave you this whole history lesson is, and I'm saying this to be blunt, and again, I'm not trying to make a joke of it, and I'm not trying to, and if I'm wrong, I apologize, but this is what it looks like looking from the outside. If Bungie had Prismatic the whole time, or Bungie had a darkness subclass the whole time, and they chose not to put it on the box to hype it up for a reveal, they inadvertently, well actually no, they directly resulted in losing a lot of money, and potentially they caused the layoffs. If they had a subclass and they did put it on the box, there's a chance that the layoffs wouldn't have happened. Because I guarantee you they would have had more pre-orders. And I don't think that's controversial. But it is sure rough. It is really rough. Now, if you want to argue, yeah, but would it have been enough pre-orders though? Or listen, we're not going to get into that, but it would have been more than they got, okay? My point is that when you look at what they first presented, like our final shape, really you were pre-ordering based off of faith in a good product after having received a bad product. I guess subclasses and races, they really just are an old reliable, right? Like you get a subclass, you know what you're going to get, right? It's probably going to be fun. It's probably going to be broken. You get a new enemy faction, you're guaranteed variety, right? You get what you buy, right? A story, a destination. And so I'm not saying that this is proof that there wasn't or was a subclass or a race being designed. What I am saying, and I think it's worth thinking about, is if they had either of these things and they purposely chose to not put it on the box and not advertise it, I think that definitely resulted in their terrible financial situation. It at least contributed to it. And yeah, so. And hence, now, after the delay, what are they pushing? The Dread. What are they pushing? Prismatic. And I guarantee you, those two groups of people, saw Prismatic, oh, pre-ordered. Saw the Dread, oh, pre-ordered. There you go. Oh, you get a pyramid ship now if you pre-order? Wow, we didn't get a pyramid ship before if we pre-ordered. Wow, I'm going to definitely pre-order now. I literally saw a post on the forums, maybe last week, and a dude literally said, the only reason I'm thinking about pre-ordering the final shape is just because of the pyramid ship. Bungie knows that. Anyway, that's my TED Talk. Over. And again, I'm not saying this as like a, haha, Bungie, you goofed off. You potentially, caused the whatever. I'm not, but like it's a gamble, I think. Because I think Bungie, if what I'm saying is true, hypothetically, if Bungie had either of these things in development, or they were gonna, and they purposefully chose not to advertise that, the reason why is clear. Because they wanted to make the reveal that much better. And from a financial perspective, They believed that the weight of the final shape being the ending alone would sell. They took a gamble on it. And I don't think they actually foresaw how much damage Lightfall was going to do or had done in terms of good faith. Right? It was a gamble that ultimately lost. If what I'm saying is true. Okay? And I could be wrong. I'm not saying this is a fact. It may have happened. So, if what I'm saying is true and they gambled and they lost and people lost their jobs because of it, that is something that I think Bungie definitely has learned from. And if what I'm saying is true and they say have another expansion down the road where they do have a race or a subclass, I guarantee you they're probably going to be marketing that for sure. For sure, dude. 100%. Again, man, with the Dread, you don't have to show all of them. You can just say, hey guys, we actually have a new Darkness subclass. And we aren't ready to show them all. But we do have 2 units that we think you would like to see. And then they show the subjugators. And this is just a taste of what you'll be getting in the final shape. There's more to come. Even that. GG. Okay. GG. And Prismatic, dude, I'm sorry, but I even looked at the development board from the Bungie meeting that showed that Final Shape was in development since like 2023, you want to say? Like right after Lightfall or maybe before Lightfall came out? I can't remember. You look at what Prismatic is. I'm going to be brutally honest with you. Prismatic is combining a certain amount of aspects and fragments, and it's a grenade. 1 grenade per class. That is what you get. Okay? I said it. I'm not trying to diminish Prismatic, but that's what it is. Okay? Even if they started making Final Shape right after Lightfall came out, listen, if you tell me there's no way they could have made Prismatic in that time, at least to have some... Listen, dude, Strand was so half-baked when they showed it with the Lightfall revealed. They changed the names of the subclasses like 3 times. There's no chance that Strand was like fully ready to go when they revealed it, okay? It was cooked. They didn't even really show it. They just had the cinematic of it, dude. If you are going to convince me and be adamant that they couldn't have done that with Prismatic, then fine. If it was always planned. But I don't know. That's just my opinion on it anyway. And yeah. Subjugators were created and finished first and therefore were polished enough. Yeah, dude, even from a cinematic, they could have shown the other units and they could have just kind of teased it. I can't agree with the narrative that in the small amount of time that the delay gave them, they managed to create a whole enemy faction. Well, it's funny that you say the word narrative because the Dread have no narrative. It's true. And that's why I wasn't really hyped by them. The Dread do not have a narrative. They are just an experiment. Okay, fine. They're an experiment from the Witness. Okay, cool. Nice. That's it. So whether we get the Subjugators or we get the rest of the Dread, it didn't really change anything. Right? And again, we're being blunt about it. Attendants and Weavers? Scions. Literally 1 unit, but slightly changed to have 2 different elements, right? And then you just have the Husk and the Grim. The Grim is a very small model with seemingly... It seems to be just like a fodder unit, right? The Husk seems to be a bit more complex. I'll definitely give you that, but... I don't know. I think you compare the Dread to any other faction, they are not as complex. And that's just my opinion. I'm not saying that this is a fact, but I can see it have... I can 100% see the Dread being made during the delay. And am I saying that the Dread are lazy? I am not. I am not saying the Dread were lazy. In my opinion, you make any faction in that period of time, that's impressive. Okay? Bungie made them in that. Listen, okay, fine. Okay, you want to talk about lazy? If the Dread were being designed since day one of the Final Shapes development, then maybe I will call them lazy. How about that? But if you give me the context that the Dread were designed during the delay, I give you impressive. So that's kind of how it goes. I'm really salty about what happened with Queria. I'm not as salty about it because Queria didn't mean that much to me, but I think that it's completely valid to feel that way. I think for a lot of people, Queria is their Nezarec. If that makes sense. Do you think the Vex will be explained with the Winnower? With the Winnower, probably not, but probably, hopefully, that same time frame. Queria went down to, yeah, I agree for sure. Also, the only explanation for the missing third arc subclass is the strand was meant to be for Witch Queen. Delightful. Yeah, but that also then kind of puts it in final shape, right? If the Winnower gets revealed and I think the Vex taken over the... Yeah, maybe. Vex were possibly once the Winnower's perfect pattern. Yeah, maybe. I mean, the Final Shape Collector's Edition lore does raise questions, but... Though for the finale of the entire saga, Prismatic feels like the better fit. For the finale, yes. I do agree. I think the reason Witch Queen did so well was because everything was... Yeah, so from a narrative perspective, that worked as well. Have a pleasant day. You've got a great mind for pattern recognition analysis. Okay. I wing it. I just wing it. But I hope you have a great day too, man. Take care. How much did Sony get involved when they realized pre-orders were terrible? I don't know. I don't think anybody has the right to say that unless they are somebody from Bungie or somebody who has a contact at Bungie. From everything that I've seen and heard, though, it wasn't a lot. My interpretation of everything that I have seen and heard is just that Sony represents kind of a looming threat. Sony holds the consequence of continued failure. Let's put it like that. Visit kid in the draw of nostalgia. True. The Pyramid Mothership should have been the new destination. Yeah, Owen, and I think that was the plan. Even if you look at the D3 leak from back in the day, we were supposed to get, pyramid. Well, not necessarily like the pyramid ship as a destination, but a pyramid destination. And I actually think that the monolith from the Pale Heart is kind of like an echo of that or a shell of that. The final bait, yeah. I still haven't pre-ordered at all. Not even the ship got me. Just waiting to see if they're dropping. Yeah, and that's fair. I have another friend who is. They actually he pre-ordered and then canceled, and then I don't know if he's gonna pre-order or not, but he's only going to get the. No, actually, he won't pre-order. I don't think he's going to wait for a few days to see if it's good, and then he'll get it. Not to mention the recent additions got approval. Yep. His opinion was another good marketing advantage to some. Of course. Word of mouth. It was during Beyond Light. They announced it would work. Maybe. Yeah. Warlock Prismatic. Sucks. Song of Flame is a waste. You know, Vertal, I said this before. I said it with the Vidoc. Song of Flame could be like the most busted thing ever. Like, just it could be just from a numbers perspective, it just could be amazing. But in terms of the power fantasy, it doesn't. Like, what looks more fun to you? Using Song of Flame or being in Dawnblade? Dawnblade looks more fun, you know? Husk is the Invisible Fallen reskin. Yeah, and I don't know what the extent of that is, but I'm just saying, like, I wouldn't be surprised. Strand wasn't ready. Yeah. I'm working now on a narrative fanfiction of my storytelling career. Very revolving around Nezarec. We Give any information? I would say, um, I am going to be making that really big Nezarec video after the final shape. And just kind of combine everything together. So I would, if you really want all the information, like listen, I would say do your own digging, of course. Do your own digging, do your own investigating. Um, I've made videos about Nezarec on my channel. On my second channel, which I haven't touched in ages, the Harbinger Unleashed. I have a really long unedited video where I go over Nezarec. But yeah, if you're also interested, I am gonna be making that big boy one after the final ship. But yeah, no, I look forward to seeing it, dude. For sure. Time is it? But yeah, guys, I think I'm gonna end it there. Um, this is just a short stream, just waking up. I don't know if I'm gonna keep the VOD or not. I might delete it. Because I don't. Yeah, I don't know. These are just kind of chilling, but yeah, no. I will talk to you guys. I'm gonna try and get that video out for tomorrow that I'm working on, and I'm gonna be streaming hopefully Wednesday morning again, and then yeah, close to the final shape. After playing success launched, I've yeah, I think that's how a lot of people feel for sure. Basically, I intend to tell a small story of my own adaptation. Yeah, that's fair, dude. You should clip and upload the final shape rant. Yeah, dude, I don't know because as much as maybe people would find it like controversial or juicy or something, it's some if I'm right, it's really a big deal. Like people lost their jobs before Christmas, man. And you know, I'm not trying to talk about it for like entertainment value. I don't know, dude. I wouldn't feel good about that, I don't think. Um yeah, nah, probably not. I probably wouldn't. Bungie made a doggy language. True. I also want to say to the guys on the server, I know I haven't been making too much contribution towards the language thing. I need to put the time into it. But what I will say is that from my own digging into it, I'm actually of the opinion that we're going about it the wrong way in terms of finding a language that does the translation. Based off of what
Mr. Paxson
has said, I'm actually under the interpretation that the pyramid language is actually comprised of multiple languages. I think, if you want my opinion, you are probably better off going on a word by word basis. I say go on a word by word basis and have multiple. It's gonna be a Rubik's cube where you're gonna have like 20 different possible words for costs and so on, and you just have to mix and match, and maybe there will be a sentence that comes out of that that's literally like it has to be that. Because going off of him saying that they use different grammar structures, that to me implies that they use multiple languages. So I think trying to lump it all into one language is not really going to get you what you want. I think you're better off going on a word by word basis. Because another thing as well that you don't know is the sentence structure. If you take Irish, for example, right? In Irish, the sentences are backwards. So, you know, the sentence could literally be, if the sentence is, Kos yen eat gate code, whatever the thing is, right? If the first sentence is I am the end or something, it may actually be translated word for word by word, as like end the mi. So I would say do it on a word by word basis and create a Rubik's Cube of combinations, sort through it, mix the order of the words, and there you have it. That is, I think, the key that we are looking at. One's a bit more dominant. Yeah, maybe. I'll tell you what is dominant. What will be dominant is the sentence structure. That is what will be dominant. Even if that language only has one or two words in it, it's the sentence structure that's inspired from. So if there's only, say, one or two words from Aramaic, but the sentence structure is Aramaic, that is going to be the determining factor, right? And again, how do you figure out a sentence structure? You have no commas, you have no full stops, you don't have anything. In my opinion, the only way that you can find out a sentence structure is, again, by creating a combination of words, mixing and matching the orders, and literally finding what the clearest ones seem to be. So the sentence structure is really what you're looking for. Because we can, listen, we can just, because, you know, just how we can automatically assume that it's going to be like an English sentence structure, but it's probably not. Anyway, that's just my advice on that. I'm going to be doing my own digging at some point as well. And maybe, honestly, tomorrow, if you're down Ultra, we can go digging into it together. If there's Latin in that language, my dad will have an advantage for certain. Yeah, I do think there's going to be Latin involved, especially based off of the pyramid relic and the ships. I think it'd be so weird if they have that relic and then there's like just no relevance at all to it. But anyway, yeah, that's everything from me. I'm gonna end the stream and I'm gonna start writing the script video. I will talk to you guys later. Thank you everybody for being here. I really appreciate your time, whether it's the morning or the end of your day. And yeah, take care.